Hi, welcome to Less of Me Success Stories. I'm your host, Robyn Dobbins. My co host, Scott King, is unable to make it tonight. Please take a second and share the link to this show on your socials. We appreciate our audience and thank you for helping our channel grow. At Less of Me Success Stories, we know what it's like to be helpless and hopeless. Your journey is not over. We provide a platform to share stories of how people have reclaimed their lives by using different dietary interventions. As a reminder, none of us are medical professionals. We are not offering medical advice. Please consult with your medical team before attempting any interventions. Tonight's conversation is going to be a little bit different. Our guest tonight is the volunteer coordinator for Metabolic Revolution, which she'll tell us all about. She is here to share her story and tell us more about the Metabolic Revolution upcoming rally in Washington, D.C. Please welcome Jacqui Hossfeld to Less of Me Success Stories. Hi, Jacqui. Welcome.
Hi, Robyn. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Oh, I'm so excited too. Ever since, we only just met like last week. And so I'm very excited because I don't really know your story. So I'm excited to hear your story and I'm
Of
excited to hear
course.
more about the event. So please I'd like to turn it over to you and just go ahead and share. Tell us all about yourself.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So I'm a mom of two kids. They are both adults now, 23 and 18. When they were little, about 8 or 9, I was very overweight. They were both actually pretty big kids, 8.5 pounds and 10 pounds. So, I probably had pre-digestional diabetes, or gestational diabetes. So what I didn't know when they were little was that they had problems self-soothing, and they also had problems with identity formation, which came into play later. So after I had my second daughter, I was 40 pounds overweight. Any of your listeners ever heard of the movie Fathead by Tom Naughton? It actually featured Gary Taubes. So I watched that, got Gary Taubes' book, and a few months later I started. I lost those 40 pounds, but unfortunately in that time my son started getting sick. He was starting to develop chronic daily migraines, and we didn't understand what was going on. He also he was fatigued all the time. We, I didn't have a medical background at the time. I didn't know anything. People asked me if it was POTS, and I said, no, he's not dizzy. He didn't know what I was asking when I asked, are you dizzy? So there were a lot of conflicts between me and him, and my husband would, try to side with me and try to help out. So when he was 13, he got a concussion at school. He bumped into a door frame. He was looking down and slammed his head into a door frame because he was running, looking down. The migraines got worse. His fatigue got worse. When 9 months later, my daughter decided when she was 10 that she wanted to jump off the school building. There was a bridge, a walking bridge, and she wanted to jump off the bridge. Her friends tackled her and brought her into the nurse's office. She started stuffing tissues into her mouth, trying to choke herself. So after that, it was a big game of whack-a-mole. Every time, my daughter would find something, would recover, my son would get worse. Meanwhile, he's getting head pains, he's getting neck pains, he's fatigued when he stands up. He wants to go play soccer. He wanted to be the only goalie on his team, and he couldn't go to any games. He wanted to play basketball. I ended up coaching without him for a season. He just couldn't play. He had a brilliant game, and it was the last game of basketball he ever played. So in the meantime, I started putting on the weight again because, stress eating, cortisol, all that fun stuff. So things were actually starting to get better for the kids anyway, because I started doing a lot more research on the diet after good calories, bad calories. And I did see a lot of studies showing hints of how low carb can affect mental health. So, I started putting all those pieces together. I starting putting it together with mitochondria. So we started, more whole foods diet, because of course, when they were little, I didn't know not to give them what I was giving. Um, so yeah, they started eating a little better. We did get a lot of the therapy for them. Everything was going smoother. Oh, my son's headaches were getting a little better. The lockdowns happened, and everything went to pot again. My daughter, who had been fighting her non-self-soothing, non-identity forming demons, through spiraling at night, and nothing could stop it. She decided to make another attempt on her life with overdosing. We ended up going to the hospital. She was admitted. She was 13 at the time. So yeah, by this point, yeah, every gain I'd made were gone. So I was miserable. Everybody was miserable. My son was still having headaches. It was about this time when we saw an eye doctor, because we thought, okay, he's dizzy all the time, he has headaches, let's check his eyes out. He does have major problems with his eyes. Like, his eyes don't they scatter too much when you're looking at something. Skaties, I can't remember the exact word, but his eyes do some non-focusing things. They just can't stay focused on something. They just keep moving. But anyway, the doctor said, hey, did you get his neck imaged? And, we've been to a sports medicine doctor for the concussion. We were at Johns Hopkins Hospital, pediatric neurology. We were at this hospital and that hospital, and nothing helped. He had sinus surgery. The sinus surgery actually helped a little bit. So, from the eye doctor, we got, hey, go get his neck imaged. And it turned out that he did have, like, right about here on his neck, the C2 and the C3 vertebrae, they're supposed to stack and move like this. But because he was hyperflexible, they would kind of just like and cause pain. So the tendons were tight, the muscles were the tendons were loose, the muscles were loose, so the discs could do whatever they want. We did try to see a surgeon, and he said, oh, let's fuse the discs. And we did everything we could not to run away, panicking. He did tell us to get my son a neck brace and to go to physical therapy. And he said that if the neck brace would be a good candidate. But we decided that if it was working, we should keep going. So we did. His headaches are a lot better now. He was diagnosed in that time frame with POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. It's very closely related to chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. In fact, some researchers believe they're actually the same disease. It's just that some symptoms may present more strongly in certain patients. And I am absolutely sure that a lot of listeners probably have exposure to one of the three. So yeah, he was on his way, and so that that whack-a-mole was done. My daughter, we were on a year 24-hour suicide watch with her. I was sleeping on the couch, and we would give her medicine, and we'd have to hide it. We hid all the sharps in the house. We didn't feel we need to hide the plastic bags, but any medicines were locked up. Even if it was ibuprofen, the knives were those were her triggers. So those things we made sure we locked up. She did make another attempt. Ended up in the same hospital, same bed, same nurse, and she remembered us and tried to help us as much as she could. The scary part was both times she had to be in the emergency room 2 extra days because they could not find her a bed in Baltimore. And then when they finally did find her a bed, it was an hour outside the city. Um, so that whack-a-mole, so she got it out, and we took care of her needs for a while. And my son, in the meantime, was on beta blockers for the POTS, doing physical therapy, going to the gym. He decided to do something a little daring, and this was about a year ago now. He decided that he would stop all his psychiatric meds, stop his beta blocker, and decided to smoke a little, or to consume a little pot. It was in an edible he got from a friend in one night. He had a mental break that lasted for 5 days. He didn't sleep for 3 days. It was 3 days. He didn't sleep for 3 days. He kept talking about how he was the Virgin Mary and he was a mushroom and gardens would save us all. And to some extent I agree, because of, food, gardens. Okay, I'll buy that. So we talked about that. I stayed up with him, but I try to get sleep like you would with a newborn. We did head massages, quiet music. I did everything I could to try to get him to sleep. So he and his sister are close, and at the last night, he thought that his sister was in trouble because of all his delusions. He thought that somebody was going to get her. So he called the police and snuck out the back door to try to catch the police when they came. Police came and knocked on our door and said,
Oh no, Jacqui, we
there.
have lost you. Jacqui, we lost your feed for a
Oh,
second. So all I got
oh,
was the police came to your door and said. So
and
please go from there.
I apologize. Yeah, they asked if we were related to this person who was wandering outside. I was like, I'm so sorry. He's having a break. He's having a mental break. We don't know what to do because at this time he was an adult. I'm going to throw a PSA in here. If you are a single adult, please give somebody power of attorney, medical power of attorney, because if you are admitted to a mental hospital and you do not have power of attorney, if you do not give somebody power of attorney while you're there, they do not have to tell anybody, no matter what your state. And the hospital that he ended up going to was very strict about that. They would not even tell us where he was. We cannot give you information about that person. So back to the police. I apologize for PSA. So I said, he's having a mental break. I have a recording, so he's not, he's not a threat. But he's like, no, miss, we can absolutely tell that he's not in his right mind. My husband went out to him first, and they were starting to talk. I made sure that my daughter was safe and asleep, and she was. So I went out there, and I got close, and he lifted his finger and pointed at me. What is she doing out here? I was like, okay. The police are surrounding him. He's never gotten angry in his life, and he's starting to get angry. So I backed up a little bit. An ambulance came and went. They were hoping that he would go voluntarily in an ambulance, but he didn't. So eventually my husband talked him into letting the police cuff him and take him in a police car to the mental hospital, to the emergency room. Same emergency room my daughter was in twice. He was admitted to Shepherd Pratt for a week after that and did recover. For the first couple days, we didn't have medical power of attorney. We weren't able to see him or know he's there or know if they let him out on the street. And I've heard some stories from other people where, they would let somebody out and not tell somebody, because they didn't have the HIPAA law to, they didn't have the HIPAA access to know. So in the meantime, he has gotten a lot better, and my daughter's gotten a lot better. They're both in college now. My son's going to.
Jacqui, we lost you again.
I am so sorry.
My son is going to.
A commuter college.
Okay.
And my daughter is at a residential college in Boston. They're both gradually coming off their meds, and they somewhat buy into the low carb stuff, but they do absolutely do the whole food things. I've also done a lot of bone broth for cooking in the house. Don't tell them, but I put desiccated liver powder in some of the meals, like the chili and the spaghetti sauce, because they're still doing the pasta, but I'll eat the meat and the sauce. Yeah, so I'm still doing low carb, and I did lose 30 of the pounds back, but I'm not all the way because I lost my ovaries in all that mess. So yeah, we're all working together and healing. Oh yeah, Abilify. That was the latest thing, was that my daughter was starting to come off meds, and she started getting tics. Like, she'd go like this, like her neck would go like this, and then it started going whoa, whoa, whoa. We talked to a doctor, emergency room. They said, yeah, it's probably the Abilify. Took her down to a half a dose. Eventually the tics got so bad it looked like a convulsion. So we did get her off of that eventually. My son's biomarkers are coming back with some liver problems, so we're trying to get him off of the Depakote that they put him on at the hospital. But both of those are going to be long processes to get them off. I have presented them with Georgia Eads, the quiet paleo diet, which is really, really helpful. And they are doing that. It is helping a lot. So that brings us to Chris Palmer. So like I said, I did do a lot of research on mental health issues and how it relates to food. And there was this other book, Mitochondria, Life, Sex, and Death, or something like that. I'll give Robyn the link to it if I remember. But really good book. And it turns out that Dr. Palmer in Brain Energy referred to it a lot. So by the time I got to Brain Energy, I was listening to it on Audible. I was like, yes, that's right. It was like a complete vindication of everything I told my family.
You know what it is? I think when you get extra laughy and loud, I think your microphone just blocks everything. I think that's maybe what's going on. But I love your energy, so it's okay with me. I do it too. Mine will automatically shut off. So tell me the name of that book again.
Let me find it. It's Amazon.
We're doing classic producing on the fly here.
Yes. Let me see. Okay, it's Mitochondria and the Future of Medicine by Lee No. So it's LeeKnow.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's also Power, Sex, Suicide, Mitochondria, and the Meaning of Life by Nick Lane. So Nick Lane and Lee No.
I've got it.
All right, the mitochondrial geniuses. Really, really good stuff. So Chris Palmer, he read the book. By the ends of the book, he had me in tears. He was like, we need to stop this now. Like, there was some vocal fry. You could hear his voice cracking. And I'm like, he said, contact me at brainenergy.com. So I did. And unfortunately, so did several hundred other people. And he wasn't ready for the influx of people who wanted to help. And Jess was actually one of those volunteers. And that's actually how we met. She was trying to coordinate. And we had some writing things done. And God bless Chris Palmer. He's doing amazing stuff. He just wasn't ready with the volunteer infrastructure he needed. And that's absolutely fine. So Jess and I kind of kept talking. And then when she's the one who is starting the Metabolic Revolution. And so she said, Jacqui, I think I need some help. And I said, oh, do you now? So that's where we are today. And Robyn is also volunteering right now.
Well, before we get into that, I did
Yeah.
open our chat up to questions while you were talking. So before we move away from the story of
Yes.
you and your children, I would like to open up for questions. So anybody who's joining us, please go ahead and ask your questions. I have one, and I always hate asking the first question. I feel like I'm taking away from the chat, but and there's questions in there. But you said that your children are titrating off of their medications. But then you said they weren't exactly all the way into the low carb. But so what made the decision to go ahead and start that process, even though they're not maybe necessarily in ketosis, or are they in ketosis, but they're doing it another way?
They are not generally in ketosis. They did stop the eating after dinner. There's another book, The Circadian Code by Dr. Sachin Dr. Panda, just like the animal, Panda, Dr. Panda. Very, very good book. So with them stopping eating and eating more whole foods, there is a chance that later in the evening, through their sleep, they will get into ketosis at some point through the night. So that's kind of our hope for them to stop eating right after dinner. It also helps reset your circadian code, because you have two of them in your body, one through your eyes and one through your stomach. And they kind of have to have the same type of cue at the same time of day, so that your body does what it needs to do, whether it's be awake or go to sleep.
Yeah, I understand. I can't eat very late at night or I'll be up all night. So, what time do they have, like a time frame where they stop eating, and just to try to keep that rhythm organized?
Yeah, we try to eat dinner about 6:30. So, we do have family dinners as much as possible, if they're not out and about doing their things. So, yeah, after that we get actually, I haven't put this back up yet, but I don't know if you can see this. It's a dragon.
Yeah, I see a dragon. Your digestive system is asleep. Oh, that means nobody's allowed. The kitchen is closed.
Kitchen's closed.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So yeah, we put that on the fridge, and so yeah, it helps remind her, and it's cute. I try to maintain positivity, because part of the problem very early on was the conflict. We didn't know what was going on. We were worried. Worry turns to frantic shouting. Oh my God, you said you were going to do this and you can't, and you're not. And he's like, I can't, but you promised, you gotta. So there was a lot of that, which added tension. But we actually did a lot of DBT. I don't know if people are familiar with that, dialectic behavioral therapy. And one of the premises of it is that the person you're talking to or working with is doing their best. They don't want to be sick. They want to feel healthy. They may not know how to do it, but you have to give them the benefit of the doubt. So, we started really working in that framework. And
Oh no, I believe it happened again. You said you started working in that framework. I think that's where you ended though. Okay.
And
So I just want to make sure we didn't cut off. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Every once in a while you just kind of freeze and then come back, but it could be on my side too. Who knows? We're not very high budget around here, guys.
that's
So
okay.
just bear with us. We'll get all the information out there some way, somehow.
Yeah, it is kind of
We
raining outside too, so that
we
makes it a
had,
little
I
worse.
think, our second or third episode, our guest Daniel, he was frozen the whole time, but we could hear him.
Oh
So
no.
we just went with it. And everybody, I get great feedback because his story is so amazing. He's a firefighter and
Oh
he
my
just has so
gosh.
much great stuff to say. So it's a great show. It's just he was frozen the whole time. But
I'll have
you
to
know,
look that up.
we do what we do. It works. It's great when it goes to audio. But anyway, we do have a question from Margaret, and she's asking if either of the kids use MCT oil.
They do not. We did think about it. They both have stomach problems, and MCT oil can exacerbate stomach problems, make it worse. I think I said that wrong. So I haven't tried that with them, and they're not willing to try anything that's a little too outside the mainframe. They do supplements, potassium. My son especially does potassium, magnesium, CoQ10, and then my daughter just does vitamin D, I believe. So, you know, those are understandable. They're in their frame. Like, I don't have to explain the liver does changes into ketones as soon as you drink it. So that, you know, I have to work with them. Dr. Eric Westman says you have to meet them where they are. And I firmly believe that even with your own family, it's really important not to push them too hard. And once we started getting healing, I did try to push too hard. Didn't last very long, fortunately. But you know, they took a little from what I was teaching. I took some from them, what they were trying to teach me, and we came out of it.
And this is not a quick process. So both of your
No,
children are still on medications. It's just getting lower. How long have they been eating this way?
a couple of years, like 2 or 3 years now. And of course, if we go on vacation and like especially the camping trips, you know, they'll camp with their friends and they'll eat for a while. Their friends with their friends, and you know they come back and you know we'll have the whole chicken and the steak and the meatloaf with the special sauce and the desiccated liver powder. Um, so yeah, we. Oh, and I put another good thing is eggs and ground beef. Anytime you use ground beef, put an egg in, 1 egg per pound of ground beef.
That's a great tip. I eat ground beef all the time and I love eggs. Why not? I'm just going to
Exactly.
adding that in, make the meal nice and hearty, and you get a whole animal all
Yeah, and
the time. And
exactly.
I use desiccated liver seasonings as well when I make mine. So I don't know if you use it, but I use Pluck, and we don't have sponsors or anything, but
Right.
I love Pluck. If you've never tried Pluck, you should try Pluck, and it lasts forever. A little tiny bag lasts
Yeah.
forever. So just putting that out there for our viewers.
Very cool.
Give it a try. It's really good. So oh, I see, and I went thinking about Yummy Pluck, and I had a question and it just went. So y'all, you can't even imagine what's going on in my world right now. So um maybe it comes back and we pop back into it, but we're about halfway through and we basically have 2 shows tonight. So I do want to maybe one day maybe one day you and your children can come on and tell their stories, because I'm definitely interested in hearing how this goes for them, because it is quite a process. And that is something I wanted to do, my PSA for anyone who is on really any medication, but very especially any mental health medications. You can't just feel better one day and take yourself off of them, as was noted in the earlier story. It is a process. You need to work with someone who is a professional and titrate down very slowly, because what they're doing that you don't realize they're doing may pop up. So it can be completely opposite symptoms of what you may expect, but you definitely don't want to force it. So take your time with it. Never try to do it alone.
Yeah, please get help for that. You don't stop cold turkey. Don't titrate yourself. Please get help for that. There are a lot more people now who are available to help.
Yes, absolutely. So, and then, as always, I'll put our information in the show notes. So if you're looking for someone to work with who can help you, you can contact either one of us because we can help you find that for you because it's something we're both very passionate about. So I'm going to switch gears because we have something else to talk about. So it's going to be like we went from like a very deep pulling out a heartstring story with a very good ending. And then we're going into a very exciting moment here of something new and upcoming that both of us are involved in. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Jacqui, to tell us all about this event.
All right. So as Robyn said, I'm the volunteer outreach coordinator for a brand new event that's happening in DC. So it's called the Metabolic Revolution. We're all rebels. We should all go. We're having the rally on October 13th at, let me get the exact place, at the Sylvan National Theater on the grounds of the Washington Monument. It starts at 3:30 p.m. We are going to have some amazing speakers. We talked about Dr. Chris Palmer, who wrote the book Great Energy. There's also Dr. Georgia Ede, who I actually ended up taking some classes with. She is also a very good metabolic psychiatrist. She endorses something called the quiet paleo diet. Basically, you get rid of things that can cause allergies or a little bit of carbs and get rid of processed foods, and you work with that. You start with that step. There's another metabolic psychiatrist, Dr. Bernstein, who started the world's first inpatient facility for psychiatric patients that focuses on keto and other lifestyle interventions. They teach the residents how to cook, why they're cooking what they're cooking, and go out and why you need to go out in the sun, why you need to exercise, why all these things are good for your body and brain. There's also a lot of speakers on the physical side of things, such as Dr. Mark Cucuzzelli, Dr. Eric Westman, who's like the grandfather of ketogenic diets for obesity and diabetes. Oh my gosh, there's like 15 speakers we have. Those are the big ones. Oh, Dr. Robert Lustig. He wrote the book Metabolical, which is an indictment against ultra-processed foods in the diet. And so that leads us into the purpose of the rally. So since 1977, the United States, the Department of Agriculture had guidelines where they told Americans that meat was bad. The saturated fat and the cholesterol, they're so unhealthy. They're going to make you have a heart attack. What you should be eating instead is all these grains, all these sugars, all these fruits and veggies. Okay, fruits and veggies, depending on your metabolism, are okay. However, they did allow up to 10% to be added sugar, which, as we know, which Robyn's doing a great job spreading the word, is not good, especially if you've already had a damaged metabolism.
Oh, we did it again. Wonder there must be quite a storm out there because
Yeah,
we
I'm so
lost
sorry.
you again.
I stopped talking. I did notice and I stopped talking.
Okay, continue. Go ahead.
Yes. So what we're doing is we're getting together and we're getting all these wonderful speakers and we're having a rally instead of lectures like we usually see these guys presenting. And we're going to be fighting against the USDA guidelines. There's an election coming up and we're going to be asking the next president, we're going to be submitting evidence to them, to their advisors, to HHS, to the USDA about why these guidelines are so damaging, why they let the door open for processed food companies to come in. So would you want to get into the history of the guidelines a little bit?
We can certainly do that, because I also want to just go ahead and point out, I've just recently started volunteering with it, and we're just want to make sure that this is not political. This is for anyone on any side of the coin who will help us get our word out. We want them to hear it. So this is us just having an opportunity to share what we do, what we believe in, and how we think it can change to whomever will listen to it, no matter what their political leanings. So I just wanted to put that out there, because, it's a rally in DC in an election year. It could very much seem like we're trying to be political, but it is, but it isn't. It's not, with a side. We just want to be heard.
It's
So
political, but not partisan. So we want to include people. We're definitely not excluding people, and we do want a change in the political process. We want a change in how the guidelines are made. Right now, as in the 2020 guidelines, 95% of the people on the panel had some kind of conflict of interest, including conflict of interest involving pharmaceutical companies. I didn't look into the panel this year, but from what I heard, only 50% have conflict of interest. However, some of those are still pharmaceutical companies. So the same people who are writing the guidelines are getting paid by the people who are trying to make us better with medicine, when we all know that the guidelines in the first place are what is damaging all of us to require this medicine. So that's really what we want. One of the big speakers that will be there is Nina Teicholz. She wrote a book called Big Fat Surprise. Amazing book, and it goes really hand in hand with Good Calories, Bad Calories from Gary Taubes. It was written 7 years later, so there's a lot of reflection in there. She'll be speaking and pointing out, exactly what's going on with the committee. Actually, if anybody is interested, the committee is meeting tomorrow morning at 8:30 in DC, 8:30 Eastern time. And I've been posting that on my Twitter account. So if you wanted
we will link to your Twitter account in our show notes, and let you talk about it at the end as well. We do have a question, and it's up to you whether or not you want to answer it, because A, you can talk to this person online or offline, and B, you may not want this information out there. But Natalie wants to know if your kids are going to be at the rally, and she's asking because it sounds like it would be they might be a good speakers.
They would be excellent speakers. My daughter's in Boston, and my son has actually, he's doing improv of all things. So he's up on stage and improving comedy, which is very therapeutic for him. He's like a hypersensitive type of person. So yeah, he's going to be doing improv instead of coming to the rally, and I fully support him. But Natalie, you're so right.
We'll hold it against him later. No, actually, I misread what she said, but she thinks that maybe them hearing the speakers would get them excited. So, but either way would have been good. But fine, they can both miss it if they want to.
No.
They're adults; they can do that. So I also want to point out that one of our previous guests is going to be a speaker at the rally, and that's Vinnie Tortorich. So the NSNG folk that are around here. It's no secret that Scott and I got started in low carb through NSNG. No sugars, no grains. We're big fans of Vinnie Tortorich, and we don't get to hear him very often. So it's a really great opportunity to hear him speak as well. The cast of speakers that are lined up are quite impressive, and I feel like there's going to be a lot to learn that day. So is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about the event?
The thing that I'm really excited about the event is that I've seen these speakers talk at lectures. I've watched their videos. I've read their books. This is going to be a chance for them to let loose and show me their personality. So, being outreach coordinator, I get to talk to them a little bit and get to know them. And that's really exciting. So I know Vinny is really excited about not giving a lecture. And I
Yes,
know
I
that,
was chatting with him this morning, and that's exactly what he said. He's like, I'm so happy to not be going to a conference. This is going to be a rally, and the energy is
yeah.
going to be different. And it's just going to be nice to not hear the same old that you might
Oh
hear
my God, yeah.
in not the same old, but when you're at a conference, it's meant to be educational
Oh
in
yeah.
a very
Yeah.
like you're getting course credits for being there. This is meant to
Yeah.
be energetic and get you motivated, and that's right up his alley. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure he's going to be a fun one to have. Sorry to
Oh
interrupt,
yeah.
go ahead.
Oh my gosh, no. All good. Nina has some interesting things planned. So with her time, we're also going to have something that the founder is our friend Jess. She has something planned called the Parade
I
of
want
Truth.
to interject and say that's Jessica Apple, so just so you guys know who Jess is, it's Jess Apple. Go ahead.
Amazing person. Yeah, she's planning a parade of proof where she's going to have some people come across the stage and just say, "Hi, my name's Jacqui, and I help my kids get over their mental health problems." Yeah, and then go off the stage. Next person comes in. Just a quick thing to say, okay, people have been helped by this. It you just need to know that some people have been healed. A lot of people have been healed by this, whether it's overweight, diabetes, mental health conditions, schizophrenia, depression, anxiety. Your body's out of balance, and these people have done a lot of research and a lot of outreach to try to get the word out. Um, if you follow me on Twitter, you're going to see that there is actually a lot of blowback right now, especially after the hearing that happened in DC. Our speakers are being called quacks and woo-woo. I'm a rebel. I am willing to stand up for them in person or online. So yeah, I'm defending our speakers and people associated with this movement. So come help me. Come be a happy warrior. I'm not getting into screaming battles. I'm just presenting other evidence, saying, I think the most important message to anybody who doubts is try it. What do you have to lose? Go Whole30 for 30 days. Get rid of your Starbucks drink for 30 days. Try it. See how you feel. And then come back to me and talk. Come back to me and tell me how you're feeling. We'll talk.
Okay, I'm going to interject for a second because there's
To be
actually a
able to do
way.
that.
Oh, okay. So you froze again, so I started talking. So
Oh, all good.
I'm gonna I'm going to say that there's a way that everyone can help, even if they can't make it to the actual event, and it actually ties into this whole concept that we're all quacks and we don't know what we're talking about. Is also the whole reason why this show exists, and it is to share our stories. The more we get our stories out there and make our voices heard, the more people can hear it and say, maybe I'll try it for myself, even if it's just for 30 days to see how I feel, because that's usually enough to get somebody going. So
Exactly.
the rally Metabolic Revolution is actually asking for quick videos to put out there. And I'm sorry, Jacqui, I can't remember the link. Is it on there, just the homepage? I'm forgetting.
Oh, you can send it to my email address associated with the website. It's rally@metabolicrevolution.org. You can send it to me and we'll vet it and we'll put it up on the site, and then we'll share it on socials. There are several people who have bravely come forward and shared their stories. Some of them have been heartbreaking, and they want their short stories heard. They're not alone. You're not alone. There are so many people here who want to help and want to connect. We're also using hashtags on Twitter, hashtag MetRev and hashtag Metabolic Revolution, the whole thing spelled out. This way you'll be able to connect with other people, other volunteers. There are a lot of people posting our stuff, a lot of people from India for some reason. There's a growing low carb community actually in India, and they've connected and donated to us. They've donated a lot of money to us to try to change it, because what a lot of people may not know is that these guidelines that we have that are putting us into hospitals, putting us on drugs for life, influences every other countries in the world. So it affects England because they're tagging along on ours. India did, Australia, New Zealand. They have just said, okay, we're just going to follow USDA guidelines. No research on our own.
Yeah, the
Nope.
Americans are supposed to be the ones that know everything, and you know, we try to call ourselves the top of the top, but we're
Yeah.
giving some horrible advice and sharing that throughout the world. It's just not a good situation.
Absolutely scary. So yeah, we hooked up with the people in India, which is amazing. So yeah, and we do have people in our community. They're the doctors in India, the ones that I've been interacting with personally on Twitter. So yeah, I hope you hop on socials and connect with me, ask me any questions. Definitely more than welcome. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and y'all can ask me questions too, and then I'll ask Jacqui for you. So that's how that's gonna work. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure you all knew you all have an opportunity here to just submit a short video telling quickly about your story and you know, what you would like to see changed or why you would like to see changes within the dietary guidelines, and that will be an extreme help for the whole cause and the entire event. I'm going to turn it over to Scott for a second. I think he has some questions coming in.
I do have a question from Natalie, and sorry I'm late to the party, but I am here. She asked, if folks can't be there in person, will there be an opportunity to see speakers talk, whether it be recorded or live?
Yes, we did decide against the live streaming because it was too expensive. We are going to have 2 professional videographers, and we will be able to put the whole thing online, and we'll also cut out some good clips. I'm also hoping that we get some personal cameras to get some kind of, you know, improv moments a little bit and be able to share those. But we will definitely have the speakers record it at the very least.
Perfect. Thank you.
I guess I'll be on call here at home for these videos coming in to get those out on the socials while you guys are all out rallying and having a great old time.
Oh, I'll be sending them to you.
Okay, that sounds good. I guess I have a job that day.
Yeah,
Nobody will
sorry about the
know.
live stream. We just couldn't
Yeah,
afford
and
it.
you know, and there's going to be people recording. There will be recordings, and we just won't be able to see it in real time. And you know, that's how it is. This is the first one, and I'm assuming this is the first one of many. And as this gets a little bigger and grows, the technology advantages will change with
Oh,
that.
absolutely. Yes, we are planning on definitely having more events after this. We're also planning a newsletter. We also have some ideas in the works. Other ideas would be appreciated, but we're thinking about having a petition and also potentially writing our own. You know, this is science-based. It'll have suggestions and the scientific studies to back it up. So if we say 80% of your food should be non-processed, should be whole foods, you know, we'll have study after study after study proving, or not proving, but showing the association between processed foods and different conditions. So that's something that we're considering. And like I said, any other ways to get our word out would be, you know, after the rally would be great, because you know we're flooding social media right now, which is a big help. We have an immense email list of health practitioners. It's up to like 2,000 health practitioners who are either functional medicine doctors, health coaches, or involved in the low carb space. directly. And it's pretty amazing that all these people are working outside of the typical medical community. You know, health coaches, like I'm a health coach, we don't work inside the normal payment system, inside the normal medical thing. A lot of integrative and functional medicine doctors, they do concierge service. You know, they pay by the visit. You pay by the visit when you go to them. It's not covered by insurance. And there are thousands of people, and we're not even halfway through our potential contact lists to get word to these people. They are incredible doctors. Highly recommended if you have any condition that you don't know what's causing it. You have weird symptoms. And you have no idea why. They're really good at getting to the root cause and helping you with diet and lifestyle changes and supplements and exercise and things like that. So it's ifm.org is a place for a lot of functional medicine doctors. And I highly recommend that if you're having some unusual symptoms and your regular primary care doctor can't help you, or they keep sending you to specialists. We had that experience, and we had to fire a couple doctors because, you know, my kids had stomach problems on top of everything else, which we know now why, but at the time it was like they have this and they have this and they have this and they have this. Nope, it's all together. So the stomach issues definitely went away when they started doing the whole foods diet. And then as I started adding like the liver powder and more meat, the functional medicine doctor told me more red meat. I was like, you don't have to strong arm me on that one. So yeah, we started adding more red meat and they start getting better and our communication got better. You know, the whole biopsychosocial model of mental health, you know, it's biology, sociology, and psychology, you know, there's a whole bunch of things that go into it. But so my theory is that with the biopsychosocial model is that food is your building blocks. Food is your defense. If you are having a bad day, that food.
Oh no, that is a terrible time to freeze.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You froze again. So go ahead and say your theory again.
Okay. Yeah, there's a psychosocial model where all these different things can affect your mental health. My thing is that the bio takes an outstated role in that food are your building blocks. It builds up your central nervous system, your brain, your stomach barrier, your heart, your organs. All these cells are recycling all the time and they need building blocks. When you're having a bad day, you should be resilient enough to say, okay, that was a bad day. I made a horrible mistake. I'll do better tomorrow. If your brain isn't working, if it doesn't have the building blocks, doesn't have the energy, you will not bounce back and it will feed on itself because you just created a track in your brain, in your processing, you know, because you have all these circuits going on in your head, the resting circuits and all these interconnection, but you just made a path that this is what your default is going to be, that your default's going to be helplessness and your default's going to be sadness and resignation, as opposed to I did this, I accept it, I'm moving on. So you need that food for your brain, for your body, for your defense against anything that can happen. And I honestly think it can help against toxins too, because if your fat cells are healthy, it can process and release and intake and release toxins. If your fat cells are unhealthy, all those toxins like heavy metals, mold will get into your fat cells and it will trigger more fat cell growth. You know, they'll get bigger because they have to store more. They can't expel it. So food is so important, and the guidelines just miss all that. Trying to get everybody to eat more plant food with their antitoxins and sensitivities. You know, there's a whole field where they talk about eliminating foods, like try to get rid of this food, see what happens. Get rid of this food, see what happens. That's how the carnivore diet started. Oh, I'm eliminating that food. I feel better. Let's eliminate this one and feel better. Oh, meat. That's the only thing that's left.
I think perhaps when the metabolic revolution and all of us and everybody who's in this community get together and we get those guidelines changed, the next step for the metabolic revolution will be to take that concept out of medical school. So our rallies should rally around getting actual nutrition education in schools that's not coming from an indoctrinated maybe source, so that we can start changing it from there too, because that is a very big problem. Our medicine system, our medical system now is this part of the body, this part of it is very segmented.
Siloed.
It's not connected. So I appreciate the link that you said, that ifm.org, because people ask all the time where to find doctors, and that I've never thought of to look up functional medicine doctors. So that's interesting. We are very close to time, but I believe there's one more question. So go ahead, Scott.
Yeah. So Natalie again asked if there's any idea where the next one might be located.
I don't know, but we really should move it around the country. There's different bureaus around the country that have different offices around, like the Bureau of Land Management, I think, is out in the Midwest somewhere. So maybe we can go talk to them, because one of the things we got to do is get regenerative agriculturists out there, because we're losing topsoil. If you want an environmental issue to worry about, look at topsoil. And we're saying don't eat meat, but the meat makes the soil. The cows poop. And we need that. We need the defecation and the urination to build up the microbes in the soil, and we need their hooves to aerate the soil so the microbes get down into it. So we could incorporate agriculturists next time around. And Bureau of Land Management, I'm sure would, or at least they wouldn't be happy with us because they're entrenched also, but we'll be rebels anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're almost out of time because it's almost been an hour. I appreciate you joining us tonight, Jacqui. You've done 2 shows in one, and that was amazing, and we got to get the word out. I'm very happy about that. Please, everyone, send in a quick video. If you have questions, you can contact me or Jacqui about the video, and we'll get you set up with that. Where can people find you?
I am on Twitter. Let me double check my handle. I should have this memorized.
You're not the only one.
I know you don't know your own number, right?
Right.
Okay. My handle is at KindConditionin. So conditioning without the G. It didn't fit. So KindConditioning without the G.
No G.
No G. Right.
IN. I'll have it in the show notes, you guys.
Yes.
So don't worry about that. Anywhere else that people can find you?
That's the biggest place. I am on LinkedIn. You can look for Jacqui Hossfeld. I have my Jacqui Hossfeld name on my LinkedIn account, so you can just search that up.
Yeah, that's good. And then Metabolic Revolution, how can we find that? Uh-oh, she froze. Luckily, I know. I put the website in there already.
Okay.
Instagram is Metabolic Revolution Now.
Yes.
Please, 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 please follow Metabolic Revolution Now on Instagram and start sharing what they have to put out there, because it is new and the rally is next month. So any help we can get getting the word out, we really appreciate. And then on X, it's at MetRevolution. MetRevolution. And the image on that is like a fist holding a fork. It's pretty powerful. This fork coming at you. Again, with those with our X channel, anything that we're putting out there, please share it, because we're really trying to build this community and this event. I believe they are in other places, but I'm not sure where. Jacqui, where else are we?
What do you mean where?
Is there a TikTok?
I'll have to find out. I know
Okay.
Oh, you know, we don't have a TikTok. We do have somebody posting stuff from their account. So I will get that information. We don't officially have a TikTok.
Okay. So our officials are the website, and then X and Instagram.
Yeah. I have to, did start a LinkedIn like 10 minutes ago. So I'll have to get you that link, but I just started that like right before the taping.
Funny.
All right. Well, we end every show with the same question of our guests.
Okay.
So you get that question and answer for yourself and your story, not for the metabolic revolution. But if you want to tie it in, that's fine too. What is one piece of advice that you would give someone who is just embarking on their health journey?
Be patient with yourself. You've been through a lot. We've all been through a lot. You need to understand that if you make a mistake, first of all, you have to forgive yourself. You're not a bad person. It is not a mark on your character. It is not a mark against your willpower. It's a mistake. You're human. So when you figure out that you've done that, you've backslid a little bit, it's okay. Forgive yourself, stop the backsliding, and then get yourself back on track, and know that you've learned something from that. Learn what trigger made you come off. Was it a family member? Was it a bad call that you had? Was it you didn't get enough sleep? And then correct that as you go on. I've always told you make. It's how you come back and you bounce back from it. It's the resilience. But the first step to resilience is forgiving yourself. You can't think you're a bad person or a moral failure because you had a cookie. You're human. And you're not alone.
I love that. I especially love the learn from it, because I think everybody looks, especially those of us have been doing this a long time that really kind of have it locked down. They're like, oh, they're just, like really dogmatic and whatever, like they're, I'll never get there. You'll get there. You'll have every single trial and error that we had on our way to this point as well. We were all there at one time, and it's easy to forget that, but at the same time, it's a constant daily reminder of what we did in the past and how that affected us, and that we never want to do it again. And some people have to get hit in the head a couple of times before they get it, but they do eventually get it. So that was wonderful. I hope you don't feel attacked, Scott. No, I'm just kidding. The last time I said something about that, you said, I feel attacked. It was not directed towards you at all. I'm just saying everyone has their own path, their own journey, and that's what we're sharing here on this channel. So Jacqui, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for telling us all about the metabolic revolution. To our audience, I really appreciate all of you being here and chatting with us tonight. Please help us get the word out. Follow all of those socials. I will have that in the show notes coming up pretty soon after we disconnect right now. For Scott and I, and for Jacqui, thank you, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.